Shredder versus Red Hood. Who's winning in a fight? A lot of people know these two characters, but just for an extremely quick summary for both of them, Shredder, aka Oroku Saki, is an extremely skilled ninja that leads the evil Foot Clan and constantly fights the Ninja Turtles, and Red Hood, aka Jason Todd, was Batman's former sidekick as Robin until he was killed by the Joker. He was then resurrected and donned a new persona of Red Hood, and unlike Batman, he goes for the kill. Both are extremely skilled fighters in their own right. There's also tons of versions of both characters, so how are we judging this? Good question. We're going to mainly go off comic versions, listing most of their feats from there. Let's get started. So, let's start with Shredder. I feel like there's a lot more people unfamiliar with Shredder compared to Red Hood, so let me assure you, Shredder is one of the most skilled fighters we've ever seen in a comic book. He's extremely fast, cunning, powerful, resourceful, intimidating to the point where he's pretty much even with Batman. Shredder and Batman have fought in the comics, and in the Batman vs. TMNT movie. In that film, Shredder and Batman fought twice, and at the end of the first fight, I'd argue Shredder beat Batman, and in the second fight, Shredder was beating Batman until Batman got help from the Turtles to get an advantage. So in both fights, I'd say Shredder was winning. Now, you're probably thinking, what's the point of this video then? If Shredder can beat Batman, then surely he beats Red Hood, right? Well, not exactly. Red Hood has also beaten Batman before, and we'll get into that later, but there's also the fact that it's more of a rock, paper, scissors situation going on here. Just because Shredder can beat Batman, and Batman can usually beat Red Hood, that does not mean Shredder can beat Red Hood as well, at least in my opinion. Red Hood and Batman have different fighting styles, which can potentially make all the difference in a fight. With that being said, Shredder's extremely tough. Saki was destined from birth to inherit his father's role as clan leader of the Foot Clan, being trained as a warrior since he was a kid. Now, let's talk about Shredder's strength. His strength is incredible. Just to go off what he's been able to do in the comic books, he's able to block attacks from the Turtles, which, to remind you, have enhanced strength, speed, agility, and reflexes. They're kind of like Captain America's, but for them. On top of that, he blocks attacks from multiple of them at the same time. I'm just going to name off some of the feats that Shredder has under his belt. He's able to cut through Krang's metal leg. Keep in mind, Krang has advanced technology and he's extremely durable and a powerful villain that gives the Turtles trouble on so many occasions. Shredder being able to cut through his leg with a sword speaks volumes about his strength and his weapons. Shredder was able to break Splinter's leg, which is no easy task considering that Splinter is an extremely skilled warrior as well. Shredder's strength is peak human level, and it's not to be trifled with. Now, let's talk about his speed. Shredder has amazing speed feats in the comic. Just to name a few, he's able to react and dodge to a shuriken. He was able to dodge bullets fired by Krang as well. He was even shown to be reacting to a gun being fired at him. Those feats alone show his razor-sharp reaction times and speed. As a human, this shows his peak skill in combat. Now, with his strength and speed discussed, let's talk about his skill, because yes, you can have extremely high strength and speed, but it doesn't matter if you can't apply it. Shredder has a lot of extremely impressive wins under his belt. Shredder was able to overpower Batman like we discussed. Keep in mind, only a very limited amount of people can keep up with Batman's fighting skill. It's extremely impressive when you consider Batman is able to beat enhanced super soldiers like Deathstroke, but a regular human like Shredder was able to take him down. Shredder was able to casually take down Karai and several other Foot Ninjas with no sweat. Karai is a high-ranking member of the Foot Clan, and she possesses extreme skill. Shredder, as we all know, has always been seen to take down the Turtles consistently as well throughout the comics. He's even defeated Splinter in their first fight. I only say this because I feel like people forget how skilled Master Splinter is. Shredder is also able to easily defeat Alopex, a humanoid Arctic fox that possesses enhanced speed, strength, endurance, and senses. She also has sharp claws. Shredder took her down, no problem. And even with all of these feats, we still haven't talked about Super Shredder. In some versions of the character, Shredder tells Stockman to mutate him to give him immense super strength, which turns him into the Super Shredder. In the 2012 animated series, he was able to overcome and kill Master Splinter and take on all the Turtles with ease, not to mention other supporting characters like Casey. Although he is beaten at the end, it doesn't take away from the fact that Shredder has his trick up his sleeve if things get bleak for him, making him way more powerful than he already is. Now, I know there's a lot to take in for Shredder, but let's move on to Jason Todd, aka Red Hood. Jason has a lot of feats for himself as well that make him formidable. In fact, he has way more feats than Shredder, due to the DC Comics being extremely vast, and having a lot more stories because of it that shows off Jason's skill. With that being said, let's discuss Jason's physical strength. Jason's strength is known to be insane at times, borderline superhuman level. Just to name off a few examples from the comics, Jason was able to flip Bane on his head, who, mind you, weighs around 300 pounds. He's consistently been shown to one-hand toss people at a far distance. He was even shown to punch through a submarine hull at one point to be able to escape. Comics, man, it's something else, but he did manage to do it. Now, Jason also has access to a specific type of venom. Similar to Bane's, although it's shown to be much stronger and it doesn't turn him into a huge mindless beast. I feel that people don't know that Red Hood uses venom at times. While on this venom, Jason has had many impressive feats with it. While on it, he was able to break Supergirl's grip on him, which surprises Supergirl. He was able to take down a large group of aliens who were shown to be really durable and powerful, since they were able to withstand Starfire's blasts. These are just a few of Red Hood's portrayals of his strength. He's a really strong guy. Next is his speed. Throughout the comics, Red Hood has been shown to easily dodge many types of attacks. He's able to dodge gunfire from professionals like Deathstroke. He was able to hit Green Arrow before he was able to react at one point. Supergirl has complimented Red Hood on how fast and agile he is, which says a lot in itself. I would say Red Hood's speed is very similar to Shredder's, considering they were both able to dodge gunfire. Now, let's move on to some of Jason's accomplishments. Jason has been able to get the advantage over Batman in fights before, showing that he's no slouch when it comes to fighting the Dark Knight. He was able to take down a large group of Talons, the assassins for the Court of Owls, and takes out a lot of them by himself before help arrived. He was even able to beat a godly powered Ra's al Ghul in sword combat. In this comic, Ra's was granted the powers of the entire Untitled, an ancient evil clan, and the massive shift in power was so massive that even Trigon and Constantine felt it, which means he was an extreme threat, and Jason managed to beat him. He's also a very quick thinker. He once used his agility while falling to survive, with Supergirl thinking he was going to die. Jason's stories can go on and on due to how deep they can get, but these stories highlight how Red Hood can keep up with the best, and show that he's no slouch in the slightest. And to end off Red Hood's skills, he's obviously extremely skilled with firearms, right? Having a gun designed to take on nearly any threat that comes across his way. His weapons have been shown to pierce Deathstroke's armor. Now, Red Hood, I would say, has a lot more feats over Shredder, but I would say that's due to how big and expansive DC Comics can get. You have to keep in mind that Shredder constantly fights essentially 4 enhanced super soldiers, or turtles, on a daily basis and beats them a decent amount of times. Shredder's not one to be trifled with. He's an extreme threat. So who would win between these two? I guess it's up to anyone's opinion, but we had to discuss the comparison of their accomplishments. Like I said, Red Hood arguably has more impressive quote-unquote feats than Deathstroke because of how expansive and insane DC Comics can get. But I would say Shredder and his feats in a smaller universe is just as impressive, if not more, than Red Hood's. Shredder has been known to take down Batman in a fight where seeing Batman is going all out, whereas most of the time, Red Hood's fights with Batman seemed to be holding back, which would make sense because why would Batman want to hurt his family? As far as firearms go, I would say that Red Hood definitely has weapons to hurt Shredder and pierce through his armor. I would say that his firearms are the main difference in a fight against him compared to, say, Batman. However, if Shredder managed to close the gap in a straight-up brawl, I think Shredder has the advantage. I would also say that it wouldn't be difficult for Shredder to close that gap and manage to avoid Red Hood's gunfire, considering how fast he is shown to be and how he's dodged gunfire before. And I think Red Hood on Venom versus Super Shredder, where both essentially take a type of enhancer to make them extremely strong, they would probably be at similar strengths in which they would likely cancel each other out. I think if one used their enhancer whereas one didn't, then that person would win, right? Like Red Hood would win with Venom versus Shredder with no mutagen enhancement and vice versa. There's a ton of more feats for both characters, but if I were to list all of them, this video would be unnecessarily long. So if I miss an important one, let me know in the comments, but I think the ones I listed shows how deadly and strong both are, especially since they don't hold back and go for the kill. So let's compare their skills. I think as far as speed goes, they're both equal. I mean, this one's hard to judge. They both have been shown to have insane reaction times and are both quick on their feet. I would say they're about equal. As far as strength goes, Red Hood is shown to be incredibly strong, but Shredder fights 4 essentially enhanced super soldiers, like I said, on a daily basis, which you need to be strong as hell to be able to keep up with. So I would say it's equal here as well. As far as firearms go, for sure Red Hood, considering Shredder doesn't even use guns traditionally. But as far as combat skills go, I would say Shredder, as he's had the warrior mindset for pretty much his entire life. And I think Shredder would be able to close a gap between Red Hood and himself easily, and his armor could definitely take some hits from gunfire if he needs to. So overall, I think Shredder beats Red Hood. Shredder's culmination of fighting skill, speed, strength, having access to Super Shredder, the fact that he fights 4 enhanced soldiers on a daily basis, in my mind shows that he is superior to Red Hood. I think Shredder is a heavily underrated killer. I would go as far to even say he would give someone like Deathstroke a challenge. That being said, I don't think Red Hood has a 0% chance of winning. I would say it goes Shredder 7-3, where he wins 7 times compared to Red Hood's 3, because Red Hood was trained by one of the best warriors in his universe, so it's not out of the question that he could win, but I believe Shredder would take it most of the time. That's just me though. Do you guys think I'm wrong? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, let me know in the comments. Have yourself a good day, subscribe if you want, and goodbye people.